Welcome back, everybody. It's your boy PokeGainz, and today, now you can read the title and see what I'm going with this, right? But before I get into everything, keep in mind I love both these movies. I love Scene 1 and Scene 2. I don't know which one I like the most, but they're pretty much the same movie, right? So I'm going to go through each character and pretty much tell you what the non-difference is, basically. Now we're going to start with my girl, Mina, played by Tori Kelly. My other boo-boo. Sorry, Louisa, but you know, I got other boo-boos around here, you know what I mean? In the beginning of her story arc in the first movie, she was terrified and scared to audition, and then when she went back to try to see if she can do it, she still couldn't, and she ended up accepting that stagehand job. But then she went back home and told her family she was in the show, but she really was just a, person in the background, setting everything up. But then in the final act of the movie, and she performed, after being scared, she still performed and literally brought down the house. So her story arc started being shy and scared, ended with being the best performer of the group and just taking everything to the max. And in the second movie, she was shy and terrified to tell a guy that she was feeling him. But then she told her makeup artist, like, hey, I like this guy, but I don't know how to talk to him. Which she ended up accepting defeat, pretty much, and buying a whole bunch of ice cream that she didn't really want because, he sold ice cream. And then at the end of her arc in the second movie, she was confident because she imagined him being next to her the entire time she was performing instead of Mr. Rudeness, the ox or whatever the hell animal he was. She built the confidence up to ask him at the end of the performance and was like, hey, did you want to go out and kick it or whatever? And he was very confused, but he was like, oh yeah. So basically the same from the first movie. She was shy, and then she built her confidence, and then she did what she had to do. Just like in the second one, she was shy and built up her confidence to ask a guy out. And now we have Rosita, played by Reese Witherspoon. Now in the first movie, she saw an opportunity to be part of a show and not be just a stay-at-home mom. And when she saw this opportunity, she pretty much became like an overnight engineer. She got skills, apparently, that we don't know she has. And then she was selected, but also partnered with Gunther because she can sing, but she was dull. So she got partnered with Gunther, which gave her that extra edge of entertainment. And then because she couldn't get the dance moves down, she wanted to give up until she had a epiphany of rhythm inside the grocery store. And then she built her confidence, just like Mina, basically. And in her final performance, she proved to everybody that she could do it, including her husband, who pretty much didn't pay any attention because he was always working. But then he woke up a lot in the first movie, and she proved to herself and everybody that she was not just a run-of-the-mill stay-at-home mom. And then in Scene 2, she saw another big opportunity to audition for this huge show that she really wanted to be part of, that she, I'm guessing, dreamed about since she was a kid. And then it's in a place that's like their version of Vegas, LA, or New York. And again, partnered with Mr. Piggy Power himself. So got the leading role, but then because she couldn't take the leap, literally, she had to settle for a lesser role, which pretty much bumped her back down to not being good enough. And then when they did the final act, she was back in the same position to where she was about to take the leap, was scared, until she had a motherly instinct moment where she jumped off the platform to save Mr. Moon, and then ended with a superhero landing, showing that she was a superhero and not a basic performer or, again, just a stay-at-home mom. Next we have Mr. Johnny, played by Taron Egerton. In Sing 1, he wanted to be a singer and not part of a gang, which is, why would you want your son to be part of a gang? That's kind of like counterproductive of being a good father. You know, being a dad myself, I don't think I would want my son joining a gang. But that's just me. I'm just saying. But he wanted to be a singer. He didn't want to let his dad down, so he was doing what he could do to be closer to his dad. But his dad denied him for wanting to be a singer instead of a gang member. But then when his dad was in jail because of something that I guess he screwed up on, he buckled down more and had Miss Crowley teach him how to perfect his song so that way in the final performance he could kill it, which he did. It's like second performance of the third. It's the top 3 performance for sure. And in the end, when his dad seen him on TV, he was shown how great his son was, and he didn't have to be a gang member to prove his worth to his dad, which in turn brought him closer to his dad, which was good. Now he's a good dad, kind of. And then in Sing 2, where he started off afraid to dance because he wasn't used to it, because he's so used to playing the piano and singing for his performances. And then they have another big show where he has to learn choreographed moves, and his teacher, choreographer, was a very rude monkey, baboon, but guy.
Tippy toes, tippy toes, I don't see your tippy toes.
And since he couldn't tippy toe right, he found himself a street performer by the name of Nushi, played by Letitia Wright. Wakanda forever. And she taught him in baby steps of how to get there and built up his confidence for his motivational performance that he had, which was this was a good performance. I don't know about y'all, but I felt it right here. And then once he performs and he has his confidence while he's performing, he's proving, and he did prove to his, tippy toes choreographer that he was worthy of performing the way that he assumed he couldn't. So again, just like in the first one, he proved his worth to his dad. He proved his worth to his choreographer. And then the rock star of the group, we have Ash, played by Scarlett Johansson. And her story arc basically is about love. First one, she was with this guy who was kind of a butt monkey. He was less talented than she was, basically. But he cheated on her, basically, with some other porcupine in her own house. Like, how could you... And, bruh, if you're going to do it, at least do it at somebody else's house. Like, you just basically got caught. So after they broke up, she had to mend her own broken heart. And she did it through song, which kind of makes sense because it's, it's about singing. The name of the movie is literally called Sing. And this song was an original song written by Ash, or, of course, the people who wrote the movie. The only person with an original song in the lineup. In the second movie, she also had to mend a broken heart. Not her own, but of Clay Calloway, who was played by Bono, who lost his wife, I'm assuming through like cancer. Every song that he wrote was either for her or about her. Because of that, he was very heartbroken. He couldn't perform, which is why it took forever for anybody to find him, unless your name is Miss Crowley. And how did she mend his broken heart? With an original song that, of course, he wrote. The only character to sing an original song out of everybody was Ash. So in Sing 1, she mended her own broken heart with an original song. And then in the second one, she mended someone else's heart with an original song. And now we have the leader of the show, Mr. Buster Moon, played by Matthew McConaughey. I almost forgot his name just that quick. He started off very optimistic about putting on this great show, but nobody came to any of his shows. And then he got lucky with an eyeball that bounced way too many times and added way too many zeros, which caused a bunch of people to come and audition for his show, and which gave him the people animals that ended up being part of his show. He got bullied by the banks to shut down, and that was it. We're not funding any more of your shows. You need to pay up your stuff now, or you got to be out, fam. Know what I mean? But he still put the show on anyway to prove to himself and the people that he was with that he can put on a great show, thus proving that his dad left the theater in the right koala hands. And then in scene 2, again, starting off very optimistic, chasing people down on bikes to go tell them, hey, you made a mistake. This show is the greatest show ever, and we can do it for the big leads. But then he get there, and he get lucky to get the audition. Plus, he get lucky with Gunther saying out loud about his sci-fi musical, Out of This World. And because they sang one of Clay Calloway's songs, they had to pretty much deliver Clay Calloway. And the bullying comes from Mr. Crystal, played by, I have his name right here, Bobby Cannavale. I think I pronounced that right. And with this, they kind of mixed Mike's story with Mr. Moon's in a way, because in the first one, Mike was getting bullied by these bears that he gypped, kind of in a way. And then Mr. Moon kind of gypped Mr. Crystal on delivering a person, and then he wanted to unalive him. Very, very, very darkly. So when he found out that he couldn't really deliver him after firing his daughter, he pretty much shut down the show, but Mr. Moon performed it anyway and got what he needed. The crowd went wild. Of course, another free show, should I say, and then ended up performing that show for another theater that, again, proving to himself and everyone else that he was good enough and that his dad would have been very proud of him. And then the most badass of the group, Miss Crowley. Now, none of this would have been possible if it wasn't for Miss Crowley, right? She's like the greatest assistant ever in part 1 and in part 2. Part 1, she pretty much kept the banks off of his back. She lied to them all day, every day, like, oh, I don't know what Mr. Moon that he out for the day, blah, 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 whoop-de, whoop-de, whoop. So if you want your money, I don't know what you're going to do about that, fam. And then she trained Johnny to perfect his song to give up one of the best performances of the first movie. And when the bank shut down everything, she literally stayed with him and helped him to organize his car washing business. I don't know what that was even called, but she helped him with that. She didn't go nowhere. And then in the second movie, she became like the greatest detective ever, better than Batman and Tim Drake, because nobody knew where Clay Calloway was, but she found him. And then when Ash and Mr. Moon went to go talk to Clay Calloway, she kept everybody in tip-top shape. When he came back, there was no lack of production. Everybody was like, right, Miss Crowley, I got you, yeah. Because she knew she won't play no games. And then when he came back, she went back to assistant mode. And then at the end of the day, she was just loyal from day one. You cannot ask for a better person to have by your side than Miss Crowley. Especially when she listened to, like, what was it, like death metal? Like, you don't mess with Miss Crowley. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you feel like it's the same kind of movie, just done differently? And if you have any other similarities that I missed, please write them also in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And then, yeah. Same movie, pretty much, right? So on that note, it's your boy, PokeGainz. I'm out.